Live from our studios here in Accra, this is JoyNews Prime, live on DSTV channel 421 and GoTV channel 125. Around the world on myjoyonline.com. Coming up tonight, big catch, OSP disrupt operations of a syndicate involved in large production of fake foreign currencies amounting to $40 million concealed in steel trunks at two warehouses in Accra and Tema. This is classic case of Sankofa. Road toll is coming back in 2024. The Roads Ministry announces to Parliament as the House approves 4.6 billion cedis for its services next year.
That this reintroduction of the road tolls, upon being reintroduced, should come with, Mr. Speaker, a digitalized solution to sustain it.
Also, Great Coast staff raises alarm over worsening cash flow situation of the company. We have details as they hint at potential power supply disruptions if ECG fails to offset outstanding debt. In a classical case of Sankofa, the government beat a retreat as it reintroduces road tolls. Ministry of Roads and Highways has told Parliament that road tolls will likely be reintroduced in 2024. The government cancelled road toll collections in 2021 after the introduction of the e-levy, which has failed to live up to its promise. The ministry also says there must be a national dialogue on financing road construction. Minority Chief Whip Governs Kwame Agboja says the tolls are welcome and the government must digitalize the collection.
The minister is proposing for a national dialogue on road financing. Mr. Speaker, I think that is the appropriate thing to do. Let us all have a conversation as to how we fund our roads. We can never have enough loans or World Bank or free money from anywhere. So let's have a debate on how we fund our roads internally. So apart from this is the most important thing I have seen in this, because if we are able to address this together as one people, we have sat here and said that once upon a time, accrual to road fund was just about 250 million. Honorable Enusa Husseini came to this house and requested Parliament to increase the petroleum revenue portion to 47%. That is what made it 1.2 billion at the time. Today it's approaching 3 billion. Maybe it's time we need to think of what we can do to see if we can generate our own 6 to 10 billion cedis annually. Then the finance minister can decide what to do with that, because that is our own money. So, Mr. Speaker, I'm very excited about that particular one. The last one is the reintroduction of road tolls. Mr. Speaker, I think the minister has done the right thing. I will maintain that the suspension was in a haste. Even if today, by the time we suspended it, we're getting 78 million. Mr. Speaker, 78 million can pay SMCs, small, medium contract who are within the roadside, because today we can't pay them. So I welcome the bold decision by the minister to reintroduce the debate on road tolls as well. We don't believe it should come in the form it used to be. It can come in a form that is more sustainable and that can protect the accruals more than it used to be. So, Mr. Speaker, these two paragraphs I'm happy about.
Our Deputy Majority Leader Alexander Afenyo-Markin says the decision to reintroduce the road tolls are in the right direction.
The committee tells us that the road tolls are likely to be reintroduced. I believe that for good reason, government had a policy of not having tolls collected. The Speaker, at the time, we were receiving almost just a little over 70 million. And we are told that there was a research by a very respected organization, and that this research revealed that government has abolished all tolls. The committee
tells us that the road tolls are likely to be reintroduced. I believe that for good reason, government had a policy of not having tolls collected. The Speaker, at the time, we were receiving almost about just a little over 70 million. And we are told that there was a research by a very respected organization, and this research revealed that over 70% of tolls collected ended up in wrong hands. So, Mr. Speaker, the records had a far lesser amount, and this was very insufficient. I hold a view that this reintroduction of the road tolls, which reintroduction my respected colleague, the Chief Whip on the minority bench, has no problem with, upon being reintroduced, should come with, Mr. Speaker, a digitalized solution to sustain it, so that the human interface will be minimized, if not to be eradicated. We have systems that would allow a perfect way of collecting these tolls for the funds to get into government hands. I believe that with the work done by this research body, that revealed that if the road tolls are properly accounted for, we're likely to rake in between 2.5 to 3 billion cedis. If this is done with proper digitalization, Mr. Speaker, I believe that we can even get more. Mr. Speaker, having said that, I've heard the lamentations of the committee and that of colleagues who had the opportunity to speak before me. And they talked about amount owed contractors. Mr. Speaker, it is true. It is true. But we as a political class are loud on monies owed contractors. But to what extent are we also advocating for the part of the contract that allows for the contractor to go by the lifespan of the contract?
But in 2021, November, Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta said road tolls cause congestion and lead to air pollution. So the million-dollar question is, what has changed?
Has abolished all tolls on public roads and bridges. The toll collection personnel will be reassigned. The expected impact on productivity and reduce environmental pollution will more than offset the revenue foregone.
A lot to be happening when this comes into play next year. Now, away from that, the Office of the Special Prosecutor has succeeded in disrupting the operations of a syndicate involved in a huge production of fake money in Ghana. A staggering amount of $40 million was discovered in concealed steel trunks and seized at two different locations in Accra and Tema. This operation is part of the OSP's comprehensive fourfold mandate, which includes investigations, prosecution, asset recovery and management, and the prevention of corruption. My colleague Kojo Nyako from our legal desk joins us for details of this particular story. Kojo, so what more do we know about this particular operation?
So Kojo, what I can tell you is that it was a big operation and it was an intelligence from an informant, and so the OSP followed that bait, and then some 5 minutes before the people absconded, the team of the OSP went in and apprehended the culprit. As we speak, we do not know the number of people involved in this deal, but there are investigations being carried out by the Office of the Special Prosecutor to get more members of the syndicate.
Aside this, are there other cases the OSP has prosecuted, and what are these cases?
So we know that in the past, the OSP has been updating its social media handles. So you saw Twitter, you saw Facebook, and other social media handles updating the public on some of the cases that they have prosecuted and the others that they intend to prosecute. And I believe that these are some of the cases that the OSP is following.
I mean, if you check their Facebook page, for example, they are talking about preventing the disbursement of over 5 million cedis in inflated contract. It says, during the OSP's inquiry into a contract granted for poverty alleviation in regions up north, to a private contractor. The officer's prompt action prevented the nation from dispersing over 5 million cedis beyond the contracted amount. So all of these are issues that
exactly.
the OSP
So we see from the OSP that they are tracking cases of prevention of corruption, prosecutions, and detected cases of bribery and all of that. So these are the cases, including what you just mentioned. These are the cases that the OSP is following.
Okay, all right. Of course, including the almighty CCD.
Exactly, and there are a couple of others that are currently in court.
All right, thank you so much. That's Richard Kwajo Nyako. He is with our Legal Affairs Desk. Now we also have on Zoom Eric Korte to share with us more, because he has a lot of knowledge in this area. Help us understand, with this particular you might say bust that the OSP has had, what impact will this have on the economy in terms of financial matters? Because $40 million is not a small amount.
Very much for this opportunity. $40 million is quite a huge amount of money which has had to enter into a part of the world. It's very worrying that such a situation has come up at a time when Ghana should be preparing for a mutual evaluation by the Financial Action Task Force. But then again, it's all right that it's the security agencies who have busted this activity. My major worry is, how did they get into our part of the world? When did they get into our part of the world? These are issues of criminality for the security agencies. But in as long as the money has entered into our economy, the important thing is, what are we supposed to do to keep our financial service space clean and effective for business?
Okay.
Because as we speak right now, I can bet that the international community is looking out to Ghana for whatever reasons. Any flight that is leaving Ghana and landing in anywhere part of the world will have an issue with that part of the world where the aircraft is landing. And so it's not a very nice issue for us at the moment. Money is in the country at the moment. $40 million. Is that the entire, what will you want to call it?
Fake currencies
of the guys, or this is just the beginning, or is it the middle? Is this a transition, which means that some have entered already and some is yet to come? Whichever way we look at it, for the $40 million which have been confiscated by the security agencies, the banking industry needs to get itself ready.
Okay.
Every organization that is licensed to handle foreign currency must get themselves ready. Every state organization which handles payment of fees or statutory fees in foreign currency must also get ready. But the back of the problem will sit with the banking industry, because if GRA receives anything in foreign currency by way of fees, Ghana Investment Promotion Center receive fees in foreign currency, all this will end up in the bank. And the banks should be able to tell whether these monies are counterfeit or not. And so the back ends with the banks at the moment. And I will expect that at this moment, the Ghana Association of Bankers is getting themselves in readiness to get the MDs of the banks look out again into their anti-money laundering frameworks to ensure that they will be on top of the game at this moment.
Okay.
It is very, very important. Money laundering is banking. But a good part of it is that banking is anti-money laundering.
Now, you are a compliance consultant or professional and a chartered banker, and they say that prevention is always better than cure. But I spoke to an expert who say that, well, it will be difficult for us to deal with this. But from your perspective, what can we do to minimize reduce, if not to take it all off the system? What can we really do to minimize the rate at which we have some of these counterfeit in the system?
Yeah, this counterfeiting of currency will always be with us, and as long as we use money as a medium of exchange. But the good bit of it is that every movement of funds, irrespective of who is involved, is a potential placement activity in money laundering. And the business of the bank is to accept deposits repayable on demand. And so if placement involves illegal money obtained out of illegal means, into the financial service industry. And the banking industry has a function to accept deposits, repayable on demand. It means that the real business of banking in itself is ready to receive any form of money that is coming to the system. And if it is placement, that because of money laundering, a potential money laundering activity, it's a banking industry which must get to know of it first and foremost. It's very important that the banks will sit up at this point in time. When they are creating new customers, they need to know who those individuals or businesses are.
Okay.
This is not the time to say that the law enforcement agencies have nipped this one in the bud. We don't know how much of it has already entered into the economy. And so we need to be very careful at this stage. Every cash deposit involving foreign currency is a potential money laundering placement activity.
Okay.
And when money enters into the bank, one will want to withdraw money for all the types of businesses, payments, investments, savings, finances, everything. The second stage of money laundering is layering.
Okay. All right.
Where the money which has been previously placed will be taken out, and the money launderers will do it in such a way that they will obliterate the trail.
Okay.
And they will spread it out there in whatever form or shape or design they want it. But the important thing is that if they are not allowed to withdraw the previously placed money, layering will not take place. And you see, yes, and Sako Ahimfia is signing. So if this dirty money reaches our banking industry, not until the banks allow them to withdraw again, money laundering will not arise, because the dirty money went into the bank. It hasn't been washed to be taken out again. Yes, let us look at it from the point of view of the fact that it's been busted. But the onus is on the banking industry to ensure that they don't allow this dirty money to come into the industry, the banks, and then they get withdrawn out.
Okay.
So it is very important that we look at our AML structures again, knowing your customer, transaction monitoring.
Okay. So Eric Niboy Korte is a compliance professional and a chartered banker. Away from that, the Ghana Grid Company is denied warning of possible power supply disruptions this festive season as it raises alarm over the company's deteriorating cash flow situation. In a letter to the Energy Ministry, staff of GridCo lament that the Electricity Company of Ghana, which is their major customer, has failed to offset their outstanding debt. GridCo bills ECG over 100 million Ghana cedis per month, out of which only about 18 to 25% is paid. They want the cash waterfall mechanism restored immediately and necessary financial support provided to GridCo. Let me share with you details of this particular letter. Now it says, quote, "May we draw your attention to our deep concerns regarding the current cash flow situation of our company. The financial landscape appears to be tumultuous and also causing considerable distress on GridCo's operations. And if solution is not immediately found, the service delivery to customers may be affected." It continues to say, quote, "The main cause of the poor cash flow situation is due to the fact that the cash waterfall mechanism, which is used as the mode of payment to the industry players within the sector, is not working and suspected to have been discontinued. GridCo bills ECG, who is a major customer, over 100 million cedis per month, out of which only about 18 to 25% is paid erratically." It continues to say that the chunk of the revenue sits in our books without any plans to redeem same. This situation has made it difficult to pay suppliers, procure the requisite tools, materials, and spares, all of which adversely affects the business. We know and acknowledge such financial constraints of GridCo because our regular operational expenses and staff conditions of service are not honored as before. The ongoing challenges in the cash flow have implications not only on our operations, but also in the service delivery to customers and the general welfare of staff. We, the staff groups, wish to caution that if the cash waterfall mechanism is not restored immediately or other means of financial support provided for GridCo, we cannot guarantee smooth power supply, especially during this festive season and going forward. We hope and believe our concerns would be addressed to help the growth and sustainability of the company. So that's the statement coming in from the company there. Now, to Parliament tonight, the Speaker of Parliament, Alban Bagbin, has asserted that the 1992 Constitution has allocated too much power to the executive headed by the President. He said this has had an adverse effect on the progress of the country and advocated for an amendment of the Constitution to reflect the current dynamics of democracy. Mr. Bagbin, however, indicated that it will take a holistic effort to effect an amendment to reduce the powers of the President, but is optimistic a process would commence after the 2024 general elections. He was speaking at a press soiree with members of the media in the Volta region as part of event to commemorate the 30th anniversary celebration of Parliament.
I think in our Constitution and our laws, we got it wrong. We gave a lot of power to one of the members of the tripod. The three arms of government is in the form of a tripod. So you have so much power with the executive. Nobody sees anything wrong with what they do. And so if the presidency in an annual budget can take, for example, 3 billion Ghana cedis for the office of the president, and the whole arm that is to hold the president to account is giving about 600 million cedis. Weak body hold that mighty executive to account. How is it going to happen? If the media is the one that to hold the three of us accountable, it's just not even catered for. Media is seen in Ghana as a private enterprise. And nobody cares whether there's conditions of service or not. And so the person is struggling to survive. The people you have to hold to account, they pass in jet planes. And you are walking where they are going. How are you going to get him to account to you? So there are a lot of things that we haven't gotten right as a country.
Away from that, National Security Minister Albert Kandapa has lamented the low budgetary allocation for his ministry in the 2024 budget. The ministry demanded 2.5 billion cedis from the Finance Ministry for the 2024 year to deal with election-related issues and emerging terrorism threat, but only got 1.6 billion cedis. Despite this, the minister says his ministry will make do with the amount and continue to keep the nation safe.
We are aware of the domestic and also the external security challenges, as well as the challenges of the election year. We had estimated that we would need an amount of about 2.5 billion cedis. Unfortunately, our allocation has been reduced to 1.6 billion because the national envelope was not big enough. In spite of this, Mr. Speaker, we want to assure the House that we will do everything to be able to accommodate the various challenges that we face, and we will make sure that we are able to confront the challenges.
Now, Minister for Foreign Affairs Shirley Ayoko Boche says Ghanaians do not currently pay realistic fees for the passport application and is asking Parliament to approve an increase in the charges. The minister said Ghanaians pay just 100 cedis for a passport, whilst to produce the document, it costs government 400 cedis. Speaking during the consideration of budget estimate for her ministry, the minister said the passport is no longer used as an identity because of the Ghana card, and their price must therefore go up.
Mr. Speaker, on the issue of the cost of passports, it goes without saying that it is not sustainable. We cannot sustain this. And therefore, I would plead with this Honorable House to look at the issue for us. It is already before the subsidiary legislation committee, and I'm hoping that Ghanaians will pay realistic prices for passports. Today, passports are no longer IDs. They don't serve as IDs. We have the national ID card. And therefore, those who need passports are those who need it to travel. And therefore, I don't believe that they will not, or they would want us to continue to subsidize it.
This is still JoyNews Prime. We'll take a quick break. We'll be back with more. Do stay. Welcome back from the break. Now, former President John Dramani Mahama says roads in cocoa growing districts are in deplorable state due to the failure of the ruling MPP government to fund construction after an audit of awarded contract. According to him, $250 million was set aside from the cocoa syndicated loan annually for the cocoa roads program. As part of his Building Ghana tour, Mr. Mahama has pledged to restore the program when voted into power. Nana Aljima has come through with this report.
Many cocoa areas visited by the Building Ghana tour have passionately appealed for improved roads. In the largest cocoa growing area of the country, the Western North region, the convoy on the tour went through some of the toughest terrains. The journey to Isam in the Bia West district could pass for the roughest so far. It took much skill for the drivers to safely journey the team to the area. Visibility became a major concern at a point as clouds of dust covered the windscreens. Some community members shared their experience.
I'm a station master Osei Krom.
I am the station master for Osei Krom GPRT number 2. Our roads are very bad, especially at Asempane. Our vehicles get stuck there always. Some do topple over. The passengers are always disturbed. Our roads are very bad. Because of our roads, for about 2 months, we have not gotten supply of LPG gas. Many chiefs have made requests for the improvement in road network in the area. At Bodi, the traditional authority bemoaned how pregnant women are forced to sit on motorbikes to be carried to the hospital for delivery. Nana Kwesi Ofori Abebio pleads for improvement from the NDC if successful in the bid to win election 2024. There is a short route to the next town, but because of the abandoned bridge, we have to spend over 2 hours to make the 30 minutes journey. According to the former president, John Mahama, most of the poor roads were awarded on contract under the Cocoa Roads program for easy transport of cocoa beans. These projects, he observed, stalled after the present government suspended the contracts for an audit. Mr. Mahama explains the government failed to fund the projects after clearing the contractors.
I'm Vice President. Asema ahemfono ebisa me say yakwan ebeden mo abe yakwan. Samre na Professor Mills na president.
When I was vice president, all chiefs were demanding improvement in roads. So I promised that I will institute the Cocoa Roads policy if I become president. It was to ensure $250 million of the $2 billion syndicated cocoa loan is set aside for road infrastructure. We ensured that the Western North region got a chunk of the project. The NPP government came and halted the project for auditing. It took more than 4 years for them to clear the contractors, but some of the roads that were halfway done have further deteriorated. The Bono and Ahafo regions have similar concerns. If I become president, we will reactivate the project and the contractors will get back to site.
Na contractor na omuye adwuma no yebema omu nyina samba na omu abeto omu adwuma so na yetua omuka.
The NDC flag bearer has assured stalled infrastructure projects in all districts of the country will be prioritized if the NDC wins power. For Joy News, Nana Ojima reporting.
Now, former President John Dramani Mahama has shared a personal story on his participation in a 24-hour shift in his formative years. As a worker on his father's rice farm, the NDC flag bearer details how his engagement as a factory hand is influencing his campaign promise of a 24-hour economy. Nana Ojima again monitored the conversation on a radio station in Bodi as part of the NDC's Building Ghana tour to the Western North region.
The National Democratic Congress continues to preach its 24-hour economy ideals, which was tagged the 3-shift system in its 2020 manifesto. Flag bearer John Mahama, speaking on Akwaba FM in Seshibodi, detailed his involvement in such a system years ago.
Abraham Yabofra, my papa no a rice farmer.
When I was a kid, my father was a rice farmer and owned a rice milling plant as well. Whenever we were on vacation, we worked as laborers on the mill. He didn't want us to loiter in the house. We worked as laborers and received salaries. We were running a shift system. You work on a day shift for a week and take the night shift for the other week. We were on rotation. Despite the criticism the policy has received, it remains top of the campaign message of the party. In a response to critics, the former president admitted some institutions are already practicing the policy, but says there is need to improve conditions for others to follow. Many fear of robbery attacks in the evenings, so we will have to improve security for the purpose. A lot of young people will be recruited by the security agencies. Some institutions want tax incentives to enable them engage in the system, so we will consider all of that.
What I say as an incentive, say almost
according to John Mahama, though the ports are running a 24-hour system, it is ineffective since other allied services are not tagging along.
24 hours. And I just ship to me bum and more offload this ship no. And so bank 0.5.
The harbour operates 24 hours. They offload ships at dawn, but customs and banks do not work at night. So importers are unable to offload their goods on weekends and nights. Why can't the allied services operate at night too?
Weekends. Weekends on Sunday.
For Joy News, Nana Ojima, Western North Region.
And to other stories, persons living in some middle and upper class communities in the Ashanti region are apathetic in participating in the upcoming district level election. Respondents cite low interest of assembly members in developing their communities, although the Electoral Commission believes it will record a 60% voter turnout. Persons living in these residential communities are not enthused to participate in the polls. Nana Boachi Yadom has more.
Local level elections slated for December 19th will be conducted across 6,272 electoral areas in all districts nationwide. Over the period, the process has witnessed low voter turnouts. However, the Electoral Commission is optimistic of a 60% voter turnout in this year's election. But people living in some residential areas in Kumasi, especially in Shayeso, Adiembra, TUC and Santase, are unwilling to participate in the election due to what they describe as neglect of developmental projects.
The high street lights and a crown for higher adjournment. Street lights in the engine, they be a crown for Yama free. And I guess you could have done no more machine.
We have issues with street lights and theft, so we have decided not to participate in these elections.
We need help. I decided to vote, but not anymore. I heard of the election on radio, but I won't vote because they don't do anything for us.
Now, in the wake of the recently granted mining lease to Barari DV Limited, concerns have emerged among citizens questioning the adequacy of the deal. Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, Samuel Abu Jinapo, addressed these concerns at a CSO engagement, expressing openness to refining the lithium deal with Atlantic Mining. My colleague Sweetie Aborchi has a story.
In October this year, government granted a mining lease to Barari DV Limited, a subsidiary of Atlantic Lithium, for the exploitation of lithium in Ghana, with the country to benefit 10% of royalties and own 19% shares in the company. Some citizens have since called for the suspension of the deal on the basis of it not being rewarding enough. In a recent CSO engagement at the Alisa Hotel on Friday, 15th December 2023, Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, Honorable Abu Jinapo, emphasized that government lithium deal with Atlantic Mining beats other countries like Zimbabwe, who are the leading producers of lithium.
When it comes to royalties, Australia pays its royalties at 5%. Mali pays its royalty at 6%. The number one producer of lithium in Africa pays its royalty at 5%. The Ghana government is negotiated in spite of our relative small lithium production at 10%.
However, he stated that until the lease is presented to Parliament, discussions will persist, and the ministry welcomes proposals and genuine concerns from CSOs and individuals.
We're happy to listen to opinions, and if we ever came across a proposal or an alternative which we believe is superior, we need to we will look into it. But of course, the lease is not been laid before Parliament yet. So between now and the time the lease will be laid, I'm sure the conversation will continue, the discourse will continue. But the discourse will continue to a point where we will contemplate any review, if any at all, of this lease, if there are concrete proposals on the table which persuades us that we should take that path. But for the time being, let me say it with respect, and do so forcefully, that government is fully satisfied with the terms we've reached with this company, and we did so thoroughly for a long period of time. We crossed the T's, we dot the I's, and we've come to the conclusion that this arrangement is absolutely in the interest of the people of Ghana. With the greatest of respect, I'm yet to hear any alternative proposition which would suggest to us that we could have gotten a better arrangement, or the arrangement which has been structured.
While responding to a question on how these proposals will affect the final lease to be laid in Parliament, Mr. Jinapo clarified that any proposals to impact the final lease must be persuasive, highlighting the importance of compelling arguments in shaping the forthcoming parliamentary decision.
We want to know whether your recommendations will mean anything to me. Otherwise, why am I here, madam? I'm here because want us to have a conversation, and out of that, we can chat a way forward. So your recommendations, without a shred of doubt, will be of significance to whatever considerations we make. But I think it's also important for you to indulge me if I say that those recommendations must be recommendations which, if you want, will persuade us, if you follow. So we will be waiting for those recommendations, and I'll be very eager to receive. And I won't mind you coming over to the office to talk me through them.
Now, Dean of the Faculty of Technical Education at the Akintinapia Minka University of Skills Training and Entrepreneurial Development, Professor Humphrey Danso, has underscored the need to improve TVET education in anticipation of the Africa Continental Free Trade Area. He made the call at the 2023 International Symposium on West African Studies held at the Ghana Institute of Management and Public Administration in Accra, addressing experts drawn from both China and other West African countries on the changing demand for TVET in the global trend. Professor Danso said prioritizing TVET education will position Ghana to get its share of the AFTA market.
Hey, Ghana, our population is just 30 million. So if you have market of about 1.3 trillion, and you have a company and you want to expand and produce to all these countries, then you can imagine the growth that you need, the changes that you should make. So it is something that we can take advantage of. And to be able to drive those, we need TVET production. What are we producing that we can send to the other 54 African countries? Are we preparing tomato paste? Are we producing fabrics? Are we producing furniture? What are we doing to take advantage of this? So that, because it's a free trade, we wouldn't be targeting only 30 million people in Ghana, but we'll be targeting 1.3 trillion people in the world, or billion people. 1.3 billion people in the world. What are we doing? It's an opportunity for us also to grow. And to do that, we need TVET. If you can't produce basic things for ourselves, even matchsticks, even toothpick, then what are we doing? We need to sit up as people and take TVET seriously. That is what will energize the growth and the development that we need as people. If you need good road, we need TVET experts. If we need good bridges, if we need good buildings.
Right, so welcome back and welcome to the Overthinking edition of the show best today. It's also Tumnada.
You just took the lead.
Oh, I didn't. People don't even know what I'm talking about, but yeah, it's Kinata, you know what I'm saying?
All right.
Kinata, baby.
Okay, so for today, we're starting with creatives talking about lack of sponsorship. Now, lack of sponsorship in the creative art space is one of the biggest challenges the sector faces. Well, producers of FVV Rice, New Age Agri Solutions, have signed an agreement with comedian Foster Romanos to sponsor his show going forward.
In the Ghanaian showbiz landscape, the issue of insufficient sponsorship remains a significant challenge despite the vibrant and diverse entertainment events held across the country. Securing ample financial backing proves elusive. The comedy sector is not excluded. The lack of sponsorship often hampers the potential growth and scale of these events, limiting the resources available for production, promotion, and overall enhancement of the comedy experience. As part of measures to close this gap, FVV Rice has signed a sponsorship agreement with comedian Foster Romanos to sponsor his events going forward. CEO of New Age Agri Solutions Limited, producers of FVV Rice, William Akono Kote, explains the reason for sponsoring Foster Romanos' event.
In this days of stress and a lot of difficulties, challenges, we see comedy as one way for people to relieve their stress. Of course, we're also very much attracted to the entertainment industry, and we believe that comedy is one way to take our work or what we do to many other people. We want our brand, Vivi, to be a household name. All those factors motivated us to take a step to partner a comedian or the comedy industry to help us promote our brand to the furthest in this country, and to ensure that every customer who has money and is able to afford that price can get access to the VV rice.
Foster Romano says he hopes more corporate entities will support the creative arts sector.
On our part, we are very humbly excited that they give a consideration to a brand like Romano's Incomplete, to support and to come on board. And we are hoping that this will be one of many, and then also it will be one that will also open doors to other corporate entities. Not that some corporate entities are not, but then we are hoping that it will be, much more, so that it takes a lot of burden off.
Well, it's another eventful weekend as Ghana in December activities are still underway. We're still keeping you informed on some of the events that you should look out for.
Oh, what fun it is to walk on the road with glasses on. The seasonal most anticipated event is here. The Adom 9 Lessons and Carol is happening tomorrow at the National Theatre, which features most of the Kumawood actors and actresses.
Popularly known as the Comfort, and this year we are coming to give you something extraordinary. Come to this event.
I'm already a fool, so I always play a part of a fool. And I'm part of the 3 wise fools. So I expect something great and very nice.
On Sunday, Joy FM Festival of 9 Lesson and Carol also comes your way at the Labadi Beach Hotel. The program will feature gospel musicians like Celestine Donkor Perez Music, Joel Metal, and Nee Okai. The event is strictly by invitation. Here is what Joel Metal had to say about the event.
I'm not going to be one of the people reading the 9 lessons. So.
Why don't you want to read the lesson?
I should read and sing again.
You should read. I'd love to see you read one of the lessons.
Oh, I can read, but no, it won't be fair. Because like the singing, they give you enough time to do it, and so they add a lesson to it. But I think we're all excited.
By popular request, the play The Cause Are Not to Blame, staged by Image Bureau and April Communications during the first week of December, will be restaged once again on Monday 18 through to Tuesday and Wednesday. Patrons who witnessed the first play had this to say.
I'm in Takrade, but I came, yes.
All the way from Takrade?
Yes, I was here at 12 noon. I can say I was the first person to get here, 100%. This is real. This was more real than we even read in the book. I mean, I shed a tear.
Well, if you still missed this, don't blame the God. For more than 10 years running, Manifestivities has been a household name in the month of December in Ghana, championed by Ghanaian musician Manifest. This year's event is happening at the Untamed Empire on Sunday.
Even beginning at 3 p.m. because we're really going full-blown festival mode. So we're doing an art exhibition during the day, a dance workshop. So DJs, dancers, the art exhibition, live graffiti. So that starts at 3. So
amazing.
By the 6th side, and we do the Gen X. We did the rap showcase. I did the open challenge, Rep Your Hood. So we selected 6 people.
Whew. The weekend is really packed, and once again, when stacking your cash, remember January has 99 days. For Joy News, I am Jacqueline Ansuma Yeboah.
January has 99 days, right?
Yeah, January is a very long month.
Yeah, so when we are spending, we should remember that.
Oh, of course, yes.
All right.
So you have to plan well.
Definitely. Now...